Okay, hello. I am Dragon421, and I want to make a video, which is going to be a bit long probably, about the game we made at the Alien Modding competition of 2023, which concluded early 2024. So we made the theme for the competition was escape rooms, with the limitation of making only one area. So we made the team Dampé's Hut made an entry, which is 30 minutes to 1 or 2 hours long, depending on how much you struggle on each puzzle. So I'm first going to play through the hack very quickly, not really in a casual way, but at least to, well, get started somewhere. So you can download the game if you haven't already on the Alien Modding website. Click download here, and you get a BPS patch to apply on top of 1.0. So let's go. I should find the full screen button maybe. Which one is it? Okay, never mind. We are not going full screen then. It will put it on my other monitor. It's okay, we are not really there for playing. So, I'm playing on an emulator which is Aries, which is the emulator we used to test the game throughout the development. It's basically the best emulator there is accuracy wise. Like it mimics the OoT64 hardware the best out of all existing emulators. So we didn't really have time to hardware test, but apparently it works on hardware. The ROM works on hardware. However, a limitation of Aries is that well, a limitation. A problem is others who use less good emulators may have issues like a puzzle we will see later is a bit hard or even doesn't work in some less accurate emulators. Okay, so let's go. So this file here is just an Aries bug. Let's just make a new file. Yeah, whatever. It doesn't matter because the name doesn't matter. We didn't use it. So the game starts with a cutscene. Where we use sounds rather than pictures to convey a story, which was much easier to implement and kind of cool too. So we had a lot of comments on this. That was one expensive room. And Link gets to his room. So, of all the playthroughs I watched, only the FG noticed that painting over there is from Master of Time romhack. Well, maybe others noticed and didn't tell. But yeah, it is indeed the first room in which you spawn in Master of Time, in the inn. And oh my god, the paw in the painting is moving. Not everyone realized this effect was very special. The effect of the paw moving inside the painting. It's actually rendering to the texture and then drawing that texture as 2D in the world. So the lame lore is just we are stuck in a dream and we must escape because the theme. This is supposedly the Triforce of Courage personified as a fairy, which is totally not navy but reskinned. So here we spawn in the back area here with within a coffin with yes, a Skyrim reference. Most people picked up on that in the first line of dialogue. Hey you, you're finally awake. Then you go there. You find out there are graves here, and first instinct of most people was to pull every grave. And yes, there is fast grave pushing. In fact, it gets faster as you push and pull more. I don't think anyone noticed, but yeah. I think after 3 or 4 pulls, or 5, it gets maximal fast. And a lot of people went around and basically pulled all graves. Well, no, it did anything because this is a puzzle. You are supposed to push or pull the graves according to hints that will come later. So there's a tree, there's a key just behind it. Initially I wanted to make the key sit on top of the tree, and when bonking the tree having the key fall, but we did not have time we didn't have time to make a lot of what I wanted to do. There's a door here which is locked by the puzzle of the graves. There's a troll wall here, like you would think, oh my god, I can totally clip through this, but they put an invisible wall here, which got a lot of people. So now that we got the key, we can move on to here. We have some fantastic geometry here. I'm glad no one really picked up on it, but yeah, this is... you can see with the lighting that it's a bit weird. I'm not sure, well, didn't really clean up that all too well. Over here we have the light puzzle. So when you step on the tiles, on each tile it advances by 1 color. The tile on which you step on and the tiles adjacent. We will come back to this. So it goes yellow, green, light blue, blue and red. And there's a hint above, on the floor above. Well, a hint, the solution, the pattern is supposed to reproduce. In the other door, there's a library with very messily placed bookshelves, which is supposed to be a bit like a bit fun to gather hints around. So there are in total 10 hints. There are 7 in this room, and 3 in another room. So every hint starts with 10 souls lie buried. This is a reference to the 10 graves outside. It seems I didn't see anyone pick up that there were 10 hints. This was supposed to be... well, the fact that there are 10 hints was intended as a hint that you had found all hints, but I didn't see anyone use that. So often some people got like 9 hints and didn't know there was a 10th one. Eventually found the 10th hint or not, but I would have expected them to count the hints and find, oh, I have only 9. Maybe I missed one, but didn't see that in any playthrough. So maybe I should have added a hint somewhere that there were actually 10 hints or whatever they want. A hint that some people missed, like I think ZFG and Dry4Has did, is a hint on this table here, which surprised me because, well, it seems like they are purposely, but I guess you do have to climb on the table, and it's like the only hint which is not a bookshelf. So there are hints around. I'm not going to go through them all. I'm just going to take the solution. You cannot. This stair is a bit. You can climb on this. There's a lot of invisible collision here to make it not jank. I would have liked to allow the player to climb on top of the shelf, but it was very jank, and Link often got crushed, or there was also issues with clipping inside the shelves, like here. Before I fixed all the collision, you could do some weird thing with clipping. There's a key here, which many people found quite easily, thankfully. I don't think anyone actually struggled with this. There's also some invisible collision under here to avoid being crushed by the floor. Well, Link's head is inside there, but that's okay. This great staircase. It was planned to be a bit more fancy, but time. So all the textures are basically vanilla, except the bookshelves here. Like the bookshelves, the actual books textures. They are... I don't remember where I got them. I got them from the internet, I think. And there are two variations for a bit of variety. And this leads back to the main room, but on the top floor. So we can go take a look at the hint for the tile puzzle. So this is supposed to be a sword with the handle in red and the blade in blue. I don't think anyone noticed it had the shape of the sword. This is a reference to the fact that this unlocks the sword. But yeah, I don't think anyone noticed really. So I saw many people complain that you had to take a screenshot, which yeah, totally intended. I'm going to do that right now too. In general, I saw many people complain that you had to take notes, like with the hints and... where did my screenshot go? Hello? Oh, Aries is on the first on the foreground. Okay. So yes, many people complained that you had to take notes, which I did expect, like copying the hints, writing the hints down. It seems normal for an adventure game or an escape room for me. Like overall, I think the people didn't really like, as much as escape room was a good theme for the competition because it's very open and also still a theme. I think it wasn't really utilized well by all contestants, and it didn't really appeal to all the players. Like, because there's, to me, escape room is puzzle solving, and many people didn't seem to be in the mood for puzzles like this one. So I didn't expect this to be as difficult as it is, because it's like once you figure out the technique of doing one row at a time like this, it's very easy. But I didn't expect people to struggle so much with figuring out the technique. So I'm just going to reproduce the pattern here. So this is blue, yellow. I think even just figuring out it was changing the tiles in a plus shape was hard to wrap their head around with for many players. Yellow, light blue, okay, and green? No, yellow. And the other one is green. And there is one extra row at the end here for making it easier to get the last row correct. It is not necessary to have this row here for solving the puzzle. You could, it could have been removed, and you could have, in theory, solved the puzzle anyway. Saro, who helped me make this, Saro is the one who wrote this actor, by the way. This is an actor on the floor here. He wrote the code for this, and he wrote code to make sure the solution could be solved on a normally sized playfield. But I ended up not using that because it was way too hard. What am I doing? Yes. So now green here. Like, it was too hard for me, so I nerfed it good. And still it was too hard for many players. Well, I did get some positive feedback, but not everyone liked it, and this should be good. So it flashes, and then the Master Sword. It doesn't seem like much, but just getting the model at all in the game of the Master Sword, well, it's using the game model, but getting it to draw like this, and then having the cutscene was a bit more involved than I thought it would be. Okay, so we got the sword. We needed to go up the tower. If you solve the puzzle, the grave puzzle first, and don't have a sword, the spirit won't let you go up. It tells you to find a weapon first. And with the key we found in the library, we can go down here to probably what's the best puzzle, I guess, maybe in the hack. Or at least it's best because it's not as hard as the other. It has a good cool ratio. So the shadowing over there is mirroring the movements using central symmetry. So if you move, I move, and such. So what I intended people to do was navigate by walking along the path with and you can't go there because he goes against you. Though I think if you side up, it does work. What I didn't expect people to do was side up and backflip over the obstacles. I don't remember how people did this, but I don't remember how some people got it, but I intended people to only walk all the way over there to the place where you can get firelings in the flames to burn him, and so it disappears. But some people did manage to side up or backflip over the furniture here, these things here, which I didn't expect to happen. If I thought about it, maybe I would have put an additional obstacle where you were intended to backflip over it. But yeah. So the 3 additional hints are in this room, including hints about the stacks of 4. So the ones with 4 side by side in the hint are expected. There's a group of 4 hints which go together, or 3 actually. 3 or 4? I don't remember. I think it's only 3 actually. And there's a 4th one for this 4, but I don't think it's 4 side by side. One. Anyway, there's a group of 4 stones for which 4 gravestones for which there are 4 specific hints, and some people had to go back because they didn't notice those hints were set apart. But I think that was a good thing because just pay more attention, and it didn't seem too frustrating to them compared to some other problems. Like for example, this door or the puzzle in general doesn't tell you when you got the solution right, which is intentional because I didn't want people to just brute force or stumble upon the solution. So, well, brute forcing would be fine, but if you are a player who cares about getting the hints right, and you're in the middle of interpreting the hints, and it just tells you, hey, you solved it, when you are in the middle of solving the hints, to me it is frustrating to... You feel kind of robbed by the game that it tells you you did it when you just stumbled upon the solution by chance, rather than dutifully analyze the all hints and oh yes, this is my solution, I think it's correct, let's check it. However, I should have made it clearer that it won't tell you when you got the solution right, and that you should check the door. Maybe I should maybe there should have been an additional text when you check the door here that check the door when you think it's unlocked or something. Anyway, the hints. I'm going to grab the hints from the source to review them. So this is the message data file. Okay, so there's one about of the two facing each other. Whoa. There's one about of the two facing each other, do not disturb the one near the wall. So the hints were modeled around disturbing and not disturbing graves. So disturbing was pulling, which was in reference to touching the graves at all, or also in general in Zelda series when you pull graves you awaken spirits, which I think everyone got it correctly. I did expect some people to have issues, but it doesn't seem like anyone was troubled by this. So do not disturb the one near the wall or the two facing each other. So these two are the only two graves which are facing each other. So this should not be pulled. The one nearest to the coffins should be troubled. So the coffins are at the entrance. And where did the music go? Oh, I muted the game, I think. Yes. So the coffins are here, and the closest one to the coffins is clearly that one. So it should be troubled, so it should be pulled. Both are the one closest to the library, so the library is the one with all the bookshelves, which is over there, behind that wall. So this is the right grave to go over. At least one of them should be left in peace for the 4 side by side. We will come back to these 4. At least 2 of them should be left in peace too. No one may be surrounded on both sides by harmony for this 4 too. And a troubled one may not be unable to another one of this kind. So this set of hints I think is really smart, but I guess it was a bit too smart for some people because they kind of just brute forced this instead of actually solving it. Like, I don't think the hints are poorly worded. I think there's just maybe confusing if you don't know how to read. I don't know. Like, no one may be surrounded on both sides by harmony is referring to, for example, if you look at this grave, it has its 2 sides, which is here and here. They are in harmony, they are pushed, so that's not good. And the hint indeed does not tell anything about this grave, which yes, that's correct, but for some reason it confused people that there would be a hint for 2 graves with to the sides of one, but not for the one in the middle. And people misinterpreted this hint a lot for some reason. And there's another. A troubled one may not be unable to another one of its kind. And that's just there cannot be 2 pulled waves side by side. This was also a hint that was very troubling to some people. So that's the second hint. A troubled one may not be unable to another one of its kind means this one cannot be pulled, because we know this one is pulled from beneath the coffin. So this one is pushed. And since we have the other hint about no one may be surrounded on both sides by harmony, this means that this can be pushed because this one already is pushed. And if both were pushed, then this grave would be surrounded on both sides by harmony. So this has to be pulled. And finally, what do we do with this one? There's a hint which some people thought was useless, but it is needed to assess whether this should be pushed or pulled. At least 2 of them should be left in peace, 2 of the 4 here, and 2 should be left in peace is these 2, because this could be pulled if it wasn't for the hint about 2 of them should be left in peace. So yeah, I don't think I saw anyone solve that properly. Basically, they brute forced it, or just guessed and didn't use all the hints and were correct. So a bit disappointed. Moving on. Disturb the one near what is dead yet not buried. Some people got it immediately that it was destroyed here, which yeah, to disturb it. It was indeed obvious. Some people got a bit more, took a bit more time, but in the end they got it. But they didn't seem too confident, which is a problem when hints are not decisive enough for players to make decisions, especially with this puzzle where you don't get a check mark on every grave, because otherwise you could brute force it very easily. So when the solution is wrong, you don't know which grave is wrong. So some people who were unsure about this hint kept coming back to some graves they thought were incorrect when they were correct, like this one. Show respect where flowers bloom. So I had a friend who played this somehow think that this meant Link had to crouch here or do something with these flowers, but all this means is just show respect, like leave it in peace, so leave it pushed. Most people got it correctly, but one person didn't. I'm not sure what I can do about it. Trouble the one carrying heavy misdeeds. So either some people didn't push all graves yet and they were confused by this hint, like how do I know which one is heavy? Either people already went around the graveyard to pull everything and they remember this one being slow because it is noticeably slower compared to the others. So it should be troubled. And finally, the two closest to the tower should not be separated. So the tower is there, and to me, like, it was pretty obvious the two closest are this one and this one, but many people saw the two closest and this one as this one instead. And so should not be separated was a bit confusing. I think the wording could have been better here. It means that they should be either both pulled or both pushed, but some people took it as they should be close to each other. So, for example, if you took the two closest to the tower as these two should not be separated, could be either in these configurations they are kind of close together, or in these configurations so they are both pulled. But what the hints meant, the two ways the hint was referring to are this one and this one. And to me, this one is closer to the tower. Like, you look at the dirt and the grave, it's closer to the tower than the grave which is here and goes much further from the wall, even when it's pulled. But for some reason, many people associated this one, so I should have moved this one a bit further from the wall. So now this should be correct. So the door opens. Are you ready to go up the tower? Yes, I am. And there's the hog, which we can slaughter with our weapon. And yes, the end. Thanks for playing. The hack is a bit, well, it falls a bit short here, I guess. I did plan for, well, I planned for a lot of things here. Oh, not here, but in general, I planned for a lot of things that didn't happen. I did want to make an actual boss here, but we just didn't have time. So it tells the credits with our team, of which I did a lot of work. Saro did a bunch too. The others did, well, less. We used Blender and OoT64. The source is available on GitHub. We are going to check that out. And this is to address repos because it's a common thing for hacks to be sold, to be flashed to cartridges by resellers and sold on the internet, which is fine to me. Like this hack is free, you can use it for whatever you want, but people should at least know that they can play it for free using a flashcard and an emulator. So this is the most important. If you don't want to waste money on buying it on a cartridge that is made in 2024, sure, if you want. Thanks for playing! And after a bit, it warps us to the title scene. Which, yeah, this hack does have a title scene. Not everyone did, so it's not the most fancy, but it's something. And it has the Triforce transition, which is something. So, now we are going to review the source code and what happened on the source code side. So I used VS Code. Well, I think Saro did use VS Code too, of course. So I'm going to open a console. Oh my god. Also, the hack was often called by people Dampé's Hut, but Dampé's Hut was only the team name we chose. The hack name itself is just escaperoom. We didn't really think of a good name. So unfortunately there is confusion about the hack being named Dampé's Hut, but that's not its name. Like some people were wondering where is Dampé, where is the hut? Yeah, there are nothing to do with the game. So run VS Code. So I'm going to zoom out because this is a bit too large. Okay. So this is the message data. This is where the text is. This is what I was looking at for going through the hints earlier. So we have the text. So here the text for the cutscene when you start the game. With all the sounds and link who gets in bed. You found the key text. This is the layout of the graves. So these are the 4 side by side. Here is the tower. Is the one near the tree. The one near the library. The one near the tower. The one near the wall in the corner. And then each hint is there with a comment on which graves it refers to and what they mean. Forbidden here refers to the hints in the room, not in the library. In the room with the dark link with a puzzle which you have to burn. So more of them. Yeah, by the way, the grave with the flowers are for the Minecraft poppies, or the old texture for Minecraft poppies. Sneaky reference. I think only a few people saw it. Some more text, the door text, some more text, and yeah, that's it. And those are technical messages that need to be there, but yes. So the text is pretty simple. Thanks to Saro for setting up the text in a way that was easier to mod. Like you can see here, we are in the assets mod directory. This is a folder that is git tracked that Saro created. So every asset from the mod is under here. So there are our maps, some textures that are used. Well, for example, this texture is used directly in the actor, in the title screen actor to add our copyright line. And same with the romhack title and the object. So the chandelier is Well, let me boot Blender, it will be easier to show things. So all the assets, okay. First off, let me show you the repository on GitHub, escaperoom. Zoom out a bit. So this is a repository on GitHub. So if you clone this locally and run make, make setup and then make, it will build the ROM. Well, it will build a debug version of the ROM at least. There's also an option to build a non-debug version. All the assets are committed in assets mode, in C form at least. The blend files and the textures are also available in the releases here with the assets source zip. To use them, you should open them with Blender 4.0 and also use a specific version of OoT64 which has lighting, some some changes including lighting. So here, opening OoT64 Blender here. We are going to open the Chandelier. So this is the assets which you can download in blend file. So this is the Chandelier. Hello. So it's in the starting room where Link sleeps. Just this explains. And this is so this is the only thing in the object. And there's an actor which goes with it, which makes the lights, which you can see at the end of each candle. Let me go back in game so we can actually see this. So this chandelier here, it has, I'm fast forwarding. Hello, any moment now. So you can see there are some lights here. So there's a halo effect, and there's also well, just you see the scene flickers a little. This is because this actor, so which uses the chandelier object, emits a light as a positional light source, and it is lighting the room, and its light flickers. So you can see it flickers. So when flickering, the halo changes sizes, and based on there's also how each candle flickers is also averaged to a light which is then used to light the scene. So it's more complicated than it looks, really. And the Triforce transition. So if we go to VS Code to find the chandelier, this is chandelier light.c, this is the actor. So it's not a really complicated actor, it has the information it needs to store a light, which is going to be a positional light. Each candle has a position and brightness. The brightness is the intensity I was talking about. This is what flickers between some values. So on init, there is a scale which is the default, but it's good to be explicit. It sets the position for the light, which is going to be, there's a single light, like the chandelier has 6 candles, but how it works is that there's a single position light in the middle of the 6, because that's plenty enough to give a convincing appearance to the scene. This defines the light color, and this is the radius, and this no glow means it won't draw a glow radius. So each candle glowing is handled separately by the actor. and then we insert the light into the light context. So basically we just register the light. We ensure it is registered. Then we set where the candles are. On destroying the destructor function for the chandelier actor, we remove the light, though that's not all that important because we are not ever transitioning room in that scene, so it's more to be proper than anything. The chandelier also handles playing the torch sound, which is like the fire crackling. Then so this is the update function. It updates the candle brightness, some stats to, because if we just average the brightness between the candles, it doesn't really flicker all that much. The global light doesn't flicker all that much, so we scale it a bit to instead of it flicker like we want. This is display list used for drawing the glow, which is handled in such function, in this function. So for each candle we draw the glow, and this is just drawing the chandelier and then drawing the glow here. Also throughout my code, at least, I'm using more standard, quote-unquote standard scene naming, which is going to be lowercase and underscores with a system prefix like this. So CL is for chandelier light and it's drawing the glow. Okay. So this is our chandelier. What else do we have in the assets? No, we don't want to say. So that's the in. We have the master of time in, which so I think I downloaded this blend from Don Camillo's assets, and then I took a screenshot of it and then put it inside the in bedroom scene, which we are going to check out here. Took a bit to load because there's a lot of things here. So our painting is here, and the painting, the pro painting is an actor. So archer handling, we can find it here. This whole thing is just one room, and there are two cutscenes here. There's one for the title screen cutscene, which is this one, cutscene that in bedroom intro CS, that's the title cutscene, and there's a title screen cutscene here, and this, I don't know what this is, but it's not used in the game actually. Probably was just used for me figuring out how cutscenes work. So OoT64 is really cool with cutscenes. You can preview them, and it will be more or less accurately previewing how the camera will move. I say more or less, it's supposed to be exactly accurate, but I had some issues with it. So I don't know exactly what was up with that. So I don't know if anything interesting happens here. Transpack fill. I think there's no text. Maybe there's a mix here. SFX link adventuring. What am I looking at? Bedroom intro. Yes. So this is the intro cutscene when you start the game. So after you create a new file and load the file. So I have a custom. So misc list is an existing command in vanilla Ocarina of Time. However, this misc type command, sfx link adventuring, here you can see the value on the left of the screen, is a custom value which so this is the exported cutscene data here. This is where I define the CS-MISC SF custom, well, my new MISC type identifier. So at the end of all the other vanilla identifiers, and I added an implementation here in the CutCSMD MISC implementation. So instead of creating one command in the cutscene, I just hard-coded here which SFX plays when. So every time there's a minus SFX flag, it's used to make the sound play only for that frame, and then it's playing for several frames. So it's running the function, running this function each frame with the minus SFX flag will make the sound play over a duration. So for example here we have a chain of ifs. So at the beginning it will play walking on grass, then after 40 it will fall lower. So at 40 it plays the sword sound, so this time there's no minus SFX flag, so it will play it in full. And this function is also called once because there's an equal check here and not a comparison check, and not a less than check. Then it does nothing until 50, then from 50 to 70 it will play walk grass again, then it pulls up a rock at 70, then it waits, then at 85 it throws something, and so on and so forth. And yeah, this is all up to when the door closes and the camera fades from black to blink inside the room. This was much easier than having to set up everything inside Blender with FAST64. But it could be done differently with one command per sound effect, if you wanted to. There's no light, there's no rumble, no time, there's no fade out. Transition maybe? Yes. No? No, cutscene destination is what I was looking for. So the cutscene destination is where the cutscene will warp to at the end of the cutscene. Well, it's an optional thing. If there's no cutscene destination and the cutscene ends, then you will just gain control of Link where he currently is. But in this case, we want Link to warp to the Poe world, so inside the coffin. So we have this thing set to CS dest intro CS part 2. And by the way you set this is choose custom here, where the other values correspond to the vanilla values for this cutscene, for our cutscene. So CS dest intro CS part 2 is defined here. This is exported cutscene again. And so there's a bunch of stuff for dealing with equips and swords. This is kind of how it happened to work. I don't think all of this is strictly necessary, but I had issues with handling the save, initializing the save data, so this makes sure the equips are correct, which is basically nothing but cookie labels and green tunic. So the destination works by so this destination hello, it runs at frame 1447 and at that frame, so this code will run, and that makes the game warp to the main map entrance, the entrance that corresponds to the coffin, and it also will play the first cutscene, so the scene layer that comes, the fourth scene layer starting from 0, so cutscene layer 0. And these two lines are just for actually triggering the transition. Just setting this alone does nothing. This is what actually makes the transition, and you also want to set a transition type to define how it should look. So in this case it's fast black fading. It's fast fading to black. So we should look at what this entrance is. So this is our entrance table for the mode. So the entrance table maps the entrances to which scene and which scene setup it should go to. In our case, which pawn, excuse me, not scene setup. The scene setup is also used to index the entrance table. Scene setup or scene layer in more modern terminology. So this is our coffin. So since we use the cutscene index FFF0, so basically the FFF here is just hard-coded to tell the game in some other part of the code in the play state init sequence that it's going to play a cutscene, and the 0 here tells us it's the first cutscene. So it corresponds to this entrance entry here. So it's going to go to scene main map in spawn 0, because there are different spawns in the main map scene. As we can see, there's a spawn 0, spawn 1, and spawn 2, 3, 4. So the only other one which is used in the normal game is the tower top, which is at the top of the tower where the bow is. It is actually the same scene, though you cannot see the rest. And the three other entrances or entrance groups are just for debugging, for quick warping to the different parts of the map while during development. So as usual, the first 4 entrances are just for getting there normally, but I don't think they are actually used because you always get on the map from this. Well, actually, you may. Well, we'll see. So from this we get into this cutscene. So where is this cutscene? Well, we should go to the other map, which is main map.blend. So this is the intro part 2 cutscene, and we can see there's another destination here, CS dest main map coffin, which should be just below here. Yes, here. So it's again like the last time. So this triggers the transition. This tells it where to go. So on main map courtyard coffin. This will actually take us to the first setup in the scene main map. Not that the setup is any different, but yes. So in the main map here we have the tower top here, we have the tower atoll here, some Guat UVing here where you can see. The coffins are here, the tree, the graves. These grey blobs here are only for visualization. They are not actually used. I don't know where are the objects, but they are not exported like the grey things here. Because the graves are actors, their model and collision will be handled by the actor, so it's not present in the map. It's just visually to help see where things are. We have the main corridor here, the library, and what I call the ballroom, because the tile puzzle looks kind of like a disco dance floor. So it's actually what the actor is named. It's called a dance floor, or rather a fenced floor. I don't know how much I used that funny joke. This sarcasm, by the way. Anyway, So we have the graves. So how the graves work? It is a custom actor. It's not actually the. Or no, actually, I think it is the vanilla actor, but I modded it severely. Well, we can check which actor is it. If I can select. Oh, I could. Yeah. Hold on. Yes. So which actor is it? It is actor Courtyard Tombstone. Okay, no, it is a custom actor. It's not the vanilla one. It is using the vanilla model though, and vanilla collision. So but it is based on Haka. Haka, which is vanilla grave actor. I don't remember this, but apparently it handles making the sand or dirt sand when on this piece of dirt here. So this is just normal logic for handling pushing, pulling the graves. We can see here there's a strength factor. So as you push and pull graves, you get Link gets quote unquote stronger, so it pushes graves faster. I think it maxes out at looks like 6. After 5 or 6 graves, it's maxed out. Also, these actor flags are, I don't think, named in main decomp, or at least they weren't named in main decomp at the time. These are just aliases to the unnamed flags to help make the code readable. Because the way push pulling works is push to move. So this field here, the Dina Unc 150, when it's 0, the player is not interacting with it. When it's positive, the player is pushing. When it's negative, the player is pulling. So, and this flag stays on as long as the player is supposed to keep holding on the wall. And it's the pushed or pulled actor's responsibility to unset it when needed. When Link should no longer hold on to the actor. Okay. So we just handle the collision and push pulling. All of that is handling pushing and pulling. One interesting bit is that the position of each grave is saved in the save file. So when you go back between rooms, the actors despawn, but they remember their location for next time. And also, if you save and quit and then load the file, it will stay there. The game does work correctly with save files. It's just never used because the hack is short enough. And that's basically it. There is a check here which does not actually do anything for checking for the correct combination of graves. So that same value which is used to remember which graves are pushed or pulled, it's updated as the graves are pushed or pulled. So for example here when the grave is pulled, a bit is set corresponding to the index that is stored in the actor instance, which is taken from the actor parameters, and the actor parameters are defined in OoT64 here. For example, the third grave is actor parameter 3. Grave 2 is actor parameter 2, and so on. So this is 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and that's it. That's 10 graves in total, from 0 to 9. And there's a hard-coded flag here of which graves should be pulled. So the graves that should be pulled are 0, 3, 4, 6, 8. This is where the solution actually is written. And where it's actually checked for something is inside the door actor, which is not custom but is modified. This is a vanilla actor that I modified. So this is the door right here, near to enter enter inside the tower. The door which is here is the only door that uses this function. So I just this is kind of like the action function for the go into the tower door. So this boolean gets set to true when the door is the graves are correctly pulled or pushed. If we solve the puzzle, then we have some text. Otherwise, we have some text. So these texts are, we saw them earlier from message data. So OX400. So this is message about the door is still locked. And now if you have a master sword, it will go to this one, and it asks you if you are ready to go into the tower. And if you don't have master sword, it will tell you that the door is open, but that you need the sword, or a weapon actually. It also handles playing the success jingle when you first solve the puzzle. And that's it for the door. What else is there here? That's the key. The key, which is just a vanilla actor. I think I did change the text ID it uses, but that's not really important. There are lights here, like this thing here is a positional light which lights the room. Same here in the library, there's a positional light in the middle. Same in this ballroom here, there's a positional light here. So the maps don't use vertex coloring. Instead, they use they use lighting and positional lighting, like in MM. So OOT does not use positional lighting at all, because it wasn't a feature when the game was made initially in 1998. It was developed after for other games, including MM. But the OoT Debug does features the microcode that allows the positional lighting, and all that's needed to do for using it is changing the ZLights code to register positional lights, which we did here. Or did mostly Saro did. I think I fixed just a few things and tweaked a few things, but mostly this is copy-pasted from MM and or written by Saro. Also, if you browse the source, you might notice there are some duplicate files, like ZLights, for example, is present in SRC code and also in SRC code escaperoom. But one is dummied out with if 0, so all this code is just nothing. It may as well be removed. The idea was to prevent merge conflicts, or not prevent merge conflicts, but avoid merge conflicts if there were upstream changes to this file, because since we replaced it, we don't care with those changes. I don't think we ended up merging main ever from upstream decomp, so it didn't matter in the end, but yeah. That's why there are sometimes two files. Play is another one, zplay. So if you look at which file, so if you look at different files, make sure you look in the right. Well, actually, I removed the zplay from .c from the SRC code, so if you look there, there won't be any, but it's in the subfolder we used for our custom code. So yes, lights. Also, you may be surprised because in FAST64 there's no positional lights or light exports at all. But this is because I made a custom version, slightly hacked version of FAST64 for this hack. It is available online too. This FAST64 here. So it's based on an older version of FAST64 than what is available now, but it does work in Blender 4.0, which is the version one should be using to edit our assets if they wanted to. And the changes are documented in README here. So it's in the FAST64 settings. There's a checkbox to enable at all the hacks. And then for each light, there are some properties somewhere. Like here, you can set the glow. It will take the radius from here. And here you can see the troll planes, or troll, the anti-clip out planes, which are just collision and not visible. You can also see all the collision in the library, all these planes here. There's also all the text. And these entities are each an actor, which is actor our text spot. So back to this is like a minimalistic text spot actor. So it doesn't draw anything, and on update, well, it just has it just sets its text ID to its parameters, and it suggests well, it can be talked to basically. That's it. There's nothing specific at all to it. This is a bit of a hack that I don't remember what it does exactly, so I couldn't elaborate on it. But I'm sure I had a reason. The Ballroom, another actor, or a pair of actors actually. We have one actor which is actor lights out target. As some people picked up on, it's so Sarah made this actor. It's based on the lights out game, which I don't know about, but yeah. So we have the fence door and the target. Lights out target.c. So if we go into the tree view, so we have the assets which are partially handwritten by Sorrow and partially exported by FAST64. I think this was mostly exported by FAST64 and then formatted by Taro. And this was manually written by Sorrow mostly. So there are two pieces of actors. There's the fence door, which is the thing, dance floor, the one you actually interact with, so you step on the tiles to change their colors, and the target one, which is just the one that is static on top of the room, on the upper part of the room, to give you the model to replicate. I think this one is the one that is tasked with generating the random state. So, as I said earlier, Sorrow wrote some code to make sure it would always be solvable in the intended size of the grid, but I thought it was way too hard, and in fact it's still probably too hard even with the added row. So, well, unfortunately this math goes unused, but it's still there if you wanted to make the fenced door one row shorter, so it's the intended experience. Which is easy, just change one of the defines here. You can see the target grid is 7 by 3 and the fenced door is 8 by 3. And I think it should just work to change these numbers. Besides, the map may, if you bump them up too big, the map, they will be too big for the map and go through the walls, probably. This defines the amount of colors you used. So yes, this must be a point number for the purpose of the math, but it could also be not prime if there was, if it was just random. So these two actors are here and here, and they rely on including some common parts. So the assets are included in each, and there's also the common part of code, which is there's the palette here, which defines the 5 colors: yellow, green, cyan, blue, red. Some utility functions that are used in both. Yeah. So this, this is the actual actor, which is the original game, of which the goal is to, the board has a random state, so all cells that have different colors, and the goal is to bring it to all the same color. So this is the original actor, which is not used in the hack. Instead, there's a target on top and the fence door below. The fence door starts all zeros or all yellow, and the target generates the solution, and the fence door checks if it's correctly in the correct state. So it checks the win condition here. And also, since there is an extra row, most people solved it by aligning the solution towards the door, so starting from the door. But if you started from the other side, it would work too, as long as the expected pattern is a sub pattern of the fenced door. It will work, and it will work and count as a valid solution. So this function checks for winning, and when we win, so we stop all interaction, and we signal the sword reward actor, which is another custom actor, to activate. So we do that by parenting it. It could be done a variety of ways, but this is how many things in the game work, and this way is simple enough, and it works. So this just so this is the master sword which you see in the game and you can pick up. So it depends on the object OP objects, which is the object for master for Temple of Time objects, which has the master sword model. So this is just drawn simply here. It's copied from the vanilla sword. On date, it checks if it has a parent, so which is the signal given by the fence door. So initially it has no parent, and when the player solves the puzzle, then the fence door parents itself to the sets itself as the parent for the sword reward actor, and then this runs. there's so I call it cutscene. Yes, so it does use cutscenes. Well, it's a manually handled cutscene, but it's still a cutscene. It's not a scripted cutscene like as one you would made it in FAT64. So at first it waits for a second, then it starts as a cutscene. Well, it starts the cutscene, waits for a second for the camera to move, the player to get used to the camera, and then it starts moving up. The sword starts moving up, there's a song played, there's particle effects. I think this is it. It's waiting for the player to grab it at one point. Well, there are actually two cutscenes in this actor. There's one for the sword emerging from the ground, so with the particle effects and moving up, and then control returns to the player. Player can move. Then the player can grab the sword by moving near, which is this check here, and then this just gives the master sword to the player. So specifically this line gives the master sword to the player in the inventory. This equips master sword, and this updates the B button. So it actually shows and can be used. Yeah, this is just, I don't know what I'm doing. This is all just to have Link have the Master Sword in hand for the purpose of playing the cutscene of him waving the sword around. There's also a collectible flag to make sure this actor doesn't spawn again. I think I check it on init probably. Yes. If the collectible has been taken, so the flag has been set, so the collectible taken, the sword has been taken, then the update function is knocked and nothing will happen. Then we start the cutscene, swing sword. This is just the cutscene action for swinging the sword. I think it's the same one Link uses when he gets back Master Sword in the final Ganon fight, after it's yanked out of its hand by Ganon. It waits a bit, then it stops the cutscene, and finally when it's all done, the actor kills itself, so despawns. And this is how you get Master Sword. Alright. Down to the... So, I mentioned this is the ballroom, this is the main corridor, this is the library, and this part here I call the Forbidden Library. It was meant to be more a darker place. If I had more time, I would have decorated more with chains, more fire, chimneys. Well, time was an issue on this project. I don't know about the others, but yes. Darklink is here. Mode Darklink. So this is a custom actor. It's not actually the Darklink actor. It's using the Torch 2 object, which is the Darklink object, but it's not the same actor. I'm not sure I took much code from Darklink. Actually, I think I copied more code from player for drawing it than from Darklink at all. So there's a collider. So yeah, the red eyes. Yeah, did you know the eyes color? You can change the eyes color of Darklink dynamically. I have a screenshot somewhere with him with pink eyes. Some function, so this actor also handles the smoke, the purple smoke when Link when Darklink appears and disappears. So the way he mirrors dark link mirrors link is literally copying the joint table, which is position, well, one position and all the rotations of the limbs of the player skeleton. So this is what this function does. It copies from player to this actor. This update position will mirror around the actor's home position. So the home position, where is the home position? Center X and center Z are the center used for the central symmetry, and they are initialized to the home position. So the home position is the position the actor spawns at, which is also its initial position. So I could just do the world position here, but yes. And then, so one interesting thing, in order to have, so I don't know if this is clear, but when dark link mirrors the movement, so actually this is a good time to launch the debug version of the ROM. So I'm going to go back to the console. Make, it should be made already, and run arrays. OoT64. Okay, so using the debug, so by default when you build the repo, it builds the debug ROM, so it has all the debug features already, and in particular it has the map select, which has entries for our rooms, and it has entries for all the custom things which I added. So the forbidden library, and this is debug text for the dark link actor. So we can see the set timer going up, body alpha rises as he appears. Yes. So here you can see link does not actually collision here. It's not there's no collision at all in front of link. What is actually preventing link from moving is the collision over there in front of dark link, and this is done here. Let me pause the game so it doesn't lag. Here by temporarily moving the player. Wait, no. This is done by doing BG check info, which is basically the main collision call. So it's like checking for walls, ceiling, floor near an actor, and updating its position accordingly. So it's doing that check on the dark link actor, and then it sets back the player position with the mirrored position of the dark link actor. So what it does is first so each frame dark link takes the position of the player, mirrors it to where he is, does a collision call at his location. So for example here, this collision call is going to snap him into this corner here between the bookshelf and the appliance, and then he writes back his position to link, which is why now link is not moving. If we remove these two lines here that are setting the player position, link could fully move dark link across the appliances, which we are going to do right now just to show you. So I commented those lines, saved, rebuilt, forbidden library. Yes, fast forward, nice. No, I didn't have the right window focused. Okay, never mind. So now I should be able to just move. Well, of course, the dark link is still checking his own collision, so dark link cannot move through walls, but I can. And it's not mirroring because of course link's position is not being enforced by the code here, so dark link is mirroring link's position, but only to an extent. Well, it will mirror him if I get him out of there and such. Which could be a cool puzzle too, but it kind of can get a bit jank because like, yeah, you see there he clips just because of how OT collision works. Yeah, it looks jank, but it could be an interesting puzzle too if it was if dark link's collision would be less jank. Right, so back to normal room. And this is all just logic for the visual effects. Also, when you get near dark link, he fades into a purple mist, so it's less weird visually to have link clip into him a bit. And it also highlights the fact that you can't go through him, but it's very subtle. The cutscene things, which are also using the manual cutscene thing. This is also not a scripted cutscene, so not a cutscene from OoT64, it's all handled in code. It's simple since it's just a one camera shot at a fixed location. Same for the end cutscene when he's dead. And yeah, that's about it. Yeah, drawing is a bit not complicated but different because translucency needs some kind of hacking. So yes, as the command says, you can change the ice color of dark link with the earth color. I'm not sure why, I don't think it's used by the game. Well, I mean, the game does set the earth color for dark link, but it doesn't change it, I think, so it's interesting that it's a feature. Drawing the smoke effects and finally draw. And yes, also there's when dark link appears in the smoke, you can tell the outline of dark link. I think it does look very cool, but it's not intended. I just don't. It just looks cool, and I'm not sure exactly what's going on. Let me show you what I mean. Here, you can see like here, dark link is just drawing at 0 transparency, and because of Z buffer reasons or coverage reasons or whatever, it's drawing the outline of dark link in the smoke, which is very cool. So I mentioned using the map select to go through our scenes and entrances faster. So this select is here. So adding a scene, adding entries is very simple. Just add a line that goes like the name you want to appear, map select load game, and then the entrances. The one thing that it needs is an entrance. So this entrance, Ant-Man debug library, for example, is this group of entrances, and what differentiates it from the other entrances like Courtyard Coffin is the spawn index here, which is 0 for Coffin, 1 for debug library, 2 for forbidden library, 3 for Ballroom, 4 for Tower Top. And this is defined in OoT64 here. There's an entrance, empty here. Entrance, forbidden library for test here. And the spawn index here, which is 2, is that same 2 that is here. Alright. What else? Is there anything left I should talk about? Yes, there is. So if you go at the tower top, there's just an actor which is a tower top PO manager. Tower top PO manager, and this is just an actor that's present in all scene setups. Even when you are down there solving the puzzle, this actor is spawned here. But I think yeah, there's just a hack if the player is not high enough, because this is at however many units high. This is at 1500 units, so 1000 units is around here. So if player is below that, the actor just despawns. And if he spawns above, like on this entrance here, then the actor does carry on. So this is debug code. It's wrapped in if, def, and debug. So this is a bit hard to parse, but if def is if not defined, and debug is a macro that is defined if you disable debug feature, so it means no debug. So for example, for a debug build, this is undefined. So if not defined, undefined means yes. Follow me. Basically, this is if debug. If debug build. It is a standard construct, so it gets easier to parse once you are used to it. So under a debug build, this actor also gives and equips master sword, but this is only for debug purposes. This code is not compiled into the ROM for release builds or non-debug builds. So the so this actor, the tower top PO manager, spawns the PO here. It's just a vanilla PO, I think. I just modified it to not drop its lantern because it was a bit buggy. And when the PO is defeated, which it checks by checking if the PO is dead, which I guess I added in. I did add something in the PO actor, I guess, on kill. No. Well, somewhere or not, I don't know. Because this actor is spawned as a child, the PO actor is spawned as a child. Maybe in the default the actor code, I don't really remember where. But either this actor will see the update is nulled and going to the credits because PO has been killed. Either the child has been set to null, maybe by the actor, I don't remember. And then credits. So credits is just starting a text box. So if you ever want to just start a text box, this is extremely simple. And when the text is done and after some time has passed, after 3 seconds have passed, then just warp the player to the title screen, which is the first cutscene of the in-bedroom scene. And yes, that's it for the PO. This was a kind of last minute thing. Which is why the code is a bit lacking or down to earth, I guess. So I think that's it for this map. I would like to go back to another map. So there are test maps which are not interesting. It's just planes. Yes, the in-bedroom. So one thing I didn't talk about yet is the painting actor here. So the paw painting is an actor which renders to an off-screen texture. So it draws an environment, then the paw to a texture, and then uses the texture in the painting here. So the environment for the paw is something very simple. It's just a box with some trees and and some floor. The camera and the objects here are helpers for getting the coordinates right for the coordinate system to use for rendering the painting. So the painting is a custom actor too. I'm going to close things because there's a lot of stuff here. So it needs sub-objects, which is the paw object to draw the paw, and the in-painting object for, well, this is this. This cube here is what's inside the in-painting object. So the paw inside the paint, and this not only handles the paw inside the painting, but it also handles the paw outside the painting. The paw outside the painting is not the vanilla paw; it's actually a paw that is just drawn in the world using the vanilla paw assets. If I go back to the cutscene, in Ballroom intro cutscene, you can see these actor cues are for the paw, I think. Yes. These are cues for the paw, so you can see unfreeze. So this how do I say this? So in OOT, the cutscene scripts can communicate with actors through cues. There are different cues per channel, so for example in one cutscene, if you have two actors you need to communicate with, you would use one channel for one actor and another channel for the other actor. So the in-painting actor uses channel 0. It's basically the only actor in the room that deals with cutscenes, besides Link, but Link does not use actor cues, it just uses a specific one for player cues, and the player cue for this cutscene is just Link sleeping and not doing anything else. The player cue, which is also in FAST64 somewhere. Can I show it? Yes. So there are two player cue lists here. But this actor cue list one here is all for the paw, as shown here. So you can see the command is actor cue in painting, which is again a custom command, which is all handled in actor cue in painting. Where is that? It just added to the long list of actor cue commands. I believe there is one of these per actor, and not every actor has a unique channel. They share channels because, well, they, for example, two actors that never are in a room together, they don't need to use two different channels because there will never be a collision anyway in using a channel. which is the case here. The in painting is just never going to be used for the channel 0, which is used for the in painting, is never going to be used by another actor in the room. So it sets the data to channel 0, which is then used here. It reads the cue from channel 0. And then the queue IDs are stored inside the queue, and so each queue here has a different ID. So unfreeze is active from 1180 to 1240, then from 1240 to 1320 it's exit painting. So unfreeze is when the paw starts moving, like just animating. Exit painting, it starts moving forward, and it actually exits the painting and hovers onto link and rotates towards link. Cast curse is when it swings its lantern towards link, and there's also the smoke animation. And this is all just the update. Meanwhile, there's a drawing that happens for each state. For Cascade timer. For example, here, update curse effects is called onDraw, and if the curse timer is set, then it will have some effects, which are the purple smoke we see in the cutscene. This actor also handles the link triforce. Then when the paw is backs off because it surprised link, the triforce popping up. So all of these are the timing for each of these is defined in the cutscene script with OoT64 using the start frame here. And the end frame here is always the start of the next one. So this is the last cue, just setting the end frame to be here. Alright. So updating is just this is just moving the paw towards outside the painting. Same with this, various things. This is the geometry for just for the quad that is used to draw the frame. Not the frame, but the painting inside the frame here. Oh yes, this is the geometry. This is the vertices, and this is the delist using those vertices. So this is the texture that is used for that quad, or the set of textures, because since we render to it, we need to double buffer it, and the Z buffer, which doesn't need double buffering, since we only use it once at a time. While for the other, there's one which is being used to render into the world, and one which is being rendered to. Actually, yeah, I don't think you actually need to double buffer this, but whatever. It was hard to get this working. And at what point I didn't have any more time to polish it. Anyway, we have some utility functions here. Now this is what actually draws the paw, the texture. As you can see, there are some things I'm not sure why I did it. Maybe I can remove this, but don't touch it if it's not broken, I guess. We clear the zbuffer for our local zbuffer. Then we need to set up the viewport. This is all just 3D standard 3D graphics things, but from 1998, I guess. Need the projection matrix, look at matrix. Yeah, I tried to get lights to work, but so direction lights to work, but it didn't work. So just use the ambient white instead. I'm using also a debug macros inside the display list, so it's easier to figure out what went wrong if something crashes, thanks to Sarah's tool GBD, Graphics Binary Debugger. So drawing the smoke, the Triforce stolen from here. Drawing the painting. So first it renders the texture, then it actually uses the point lights to render the painting in the world. So first rendering to the texture, then using the texture to draw the painting, and it's segmented into 4 chunks too, because the painting is 64 times 64 or something, and it needs to be drawn in 4 chunks then, because not all of it fits in texture memory. And this just draws the paw outside the painting, so like as if it was a real paw attacking Link, but it's actually not a vanilla paw, it's just this actor drawing a paw, a vanilla paw. And the Triforce, and that's it. So I think that covers about everything there is with this hack on the code side. I hope that was interesting. Is there something else that I forgot about? Not really. Code, escape room. No. Well, there's a bunch of things I didn't touch on, which are optimizations and background things that were mostly done by Sarah, thanks. One last thing I would like to show is using GBD and NGDB, two completely different things. One is a play on the other's name to debug a graphic crash and or a CPU crash. So for example here, for drawing the paw, yes. So for drawing the paw, we need segment 8 to be set to a display list, because the paw uses it for something, I don't remember what. Maybe lighting, maybe something else. However, if we remove setting this segment, and this is the problem I actually got when I first drew the paw, I forgot to, well, I didn't know it needed segment 8 set to a display list, and when I tested it out in game, well, it crashed. So if we make the ROM like this, go on, and go to escape room, the game will not start. And this is normal, this is because in the, so RCP is hung up, oh my god, this means the RSP or RDP crashed on trying to draw our display list. So this is because the paw is inside the painting here, and that painting is inside the scene that draws in its initial scene. So basically trying to draw the first frame in the title scene, well, it crashes the game. So what can we do? Well, we can use GBD, the graphics binary debugger. So I'm going to stop this and start. Well, there are several things we can do. Do we have a GBD scripts here? I thought I did. 1 second. Oh yes, probably in here. Yes. GDB run. So if we look inside this file, it's running GDB with the ROM elf with various options. Alright. So what GDB is? GDB is a tool that is not specific to modding at all, or even N64 at all. GDB is just a software that is very useful to debug programs. It's used for debugging any kind of program. Currently, it's a modern tool. Programs such as, for example, ARIS, which is running here, or an operating system, or whatever. ARIS has GDB support to debug ROM running inside ARIS with GDB. So, for example, here I have GDB enabled in ARIS. So as we can see, GDB connected here. And I also run our GDB as a client on the side. So my GDB client here in the terminal is connected to ARIS. If you're interested in this, I have a tutorial which goes into more details on setting it up. Just want to show an example of how to do things. And so here we can see the game stopped. The game crashed on this line, which is an intended way for the game to crash when something goes wrong, which is not the CPU faulting on an instruction, like executing an invalid instruction or doing an invalid operation. This is the game purposefully putting a stop to itself and going to the crash screen. So if we look at the backtrace, we don't see much interesting. Well, we see graph task set 000 is a function that handles sending the graphics task and drawing the display list to the relevant hardware. And if that function crashes, if that function causes a crash, it's often that the display list was misformatted or something. So if we go to frame 1, if we select that frame, one interesting thing is here is the task is the previous task that was run, which in general that's what you want, but in here I think I made it a global variable for it to be easier to, yes. So this variable here, which is not outside the function in main decomp, but it's inside the function because of matching requirements. this variable is holds a pointer which holds a pointer to the display list of the previous frame, which would be the one which crashed, because this function does not does not send the delist to the hardware and then wait for it. Instead, it waits for the previous delist display list that was enqueued to finish drawing, and then enqueue the next one. So while the hardware is drawing the display list, then the CPU can go on and do the update and draw cycles, while the rest of the hardware is drawing the display list. So this is holding a pointer to the display list that was crashing, that had failed to render, presumably. So this is not something you would get in normal GDB. I have a script that is used to when printing a GFX display list. Basically, it uses GBD, which is so GDB is a GNU debugger, and GBD is graphics binary debugger. So I'm using GBD, the graphics binary debugger, inside GDB, the GNU debugger, as using a Python script, some hacky code, to disassemble the display list and show what's going on here. So I can page, or I can oh my god, stop. So clearly here it's disassembling invalid data. So if we could try to disassemble only up until it starts. Okay, here. So these errors and warnings here are using are printed by GBD, graphics binary debugger, and warning us that the display list is well, probably corrupted. And if you know about a display list, then you will see it's clearly corrupted, because there are some commands that are not actually commands. Like here it says invalid commands about this. Here it's nonsense, which is indeed nonsense as a display. But what's important here is that all the display list looks okay here. That you can see there's no really errors or actual warnings. Well, you can ignore the warnings if you know what they are, but usually superfluous type sync is really not an important warning. Missing load sync is not an important warning. Especially in light of here, we see there's a SP display list, which is a jump. So it's jumping to the display list here at in segment 8, and right then that's when the garbage display list is being executed, and nothing happened. So we can deduce from this that the display list at segment 8 is not a display list, and that segment 8 is should have been set to a display list instead of garbage. So we can go back to see where we are, because this is nice. We know at this point segment 8 should be a display list, but it's not. Or if it's supposed to be, then we should feel what's there with a display list. So we can go back and we see here we have a hint with a gsdp no-op string. Scale anime draw pose scale anime. So this is the no-op string I have in here. Scale anime draw scale anime. And so this is why I have these no-op strings. They are useful to know where you are in the display list. For example, this is the same. This command here is the one I write here, and then the gfx setup dl is what wrote this, and probably other stuff. and this set of color white is here, and then there's a matrix which is well, I don't know where that is, but that's probably in Scala image draw, I guess, because that's the only thing that draws between this and this. So yes, but we can have even better, because we have open disps and closed disps here. These things are not just for these things are for debugging in general. So having them allows you to use these buffers here, these names: work disp, poly OPA disp, poly XLU disp, overlay disp, which you could use without using open and closed disps, but you do want to use open and close because of what I'm about to show. So we are going to restart arrays, if I can figure out how to close it. Alright. So I'm going to start GDB. I'm waiting for GDB to load the elf. It can take a bit of time, but it doesn't show when it's ready, so just wait a bit. So we pause here, and one thing we would like to do is having the open disp and closed disps did it show? Okay. I forgot we probably changed this, I guess. In vanilla there's a check for whether to actually write the no-ops to the display list, but maybe in this repo we always wrote them. I don't think so. I'm discovering. Let me check just the graph.c from the OOTD comp. Not master, it's going to be main. Okay, sure. Open disps. Yes, in the vanilla open disps there's a condition here, which you would want to remove or fulfill if you try to do this in another repo. So here we don't need to worry about that, we can just go ahead, wait for the crash, and we look at pref task on buffer. Okay, what am I missing? Oh, what am I missing? Okay, I know what I am missing. The graph open disps function doesn't add a line to the work buffer, which I am using here. We are in work disp, so I'm just going to add one. Work. Make. Usually you would use OPA, XLU or overlay buffers. I'm using the work buffer because I think that's what the intended usage is for it, to do work before the frame. The work in here being the rendering of the painting to the off-screen frame buffer or texture. Yes, continue. Go on, go on. Alright, so now we can see the whole sequence of what the game went through. So each time open disps was called, this ran and added the well, and added a no-op command. So a no-op command does nothing with the file and line information of where the open disp is. So we know the display list was written starting from graph.c line 328, then zplay.c line 1081, then zrcp.c line 25. Depending on your repo, these names and line numbers may be the matching ones, which may not represent the actual line numbers in the source. So make sure you know what you're doing, I guess. So eventually, after a long chain, so we see it goes through the VRBox draw, the CanQ, some table, lights, room, actor, lights, the player, scale anime. And finally, it arrives here. I'm not sure. Is this bugged? I feel like because there's a system in place to squash when you close the disps after an open disps, and nothing has happened in between the open and close. There's a system to squash the two together and just remove them so they don't add a noise, but I think it's not working properly. Anyway, what we can see here is we have our inpainting.c line 520, which is running. So if I did not add the no strings telling me, hey, this is where I'm drawing the painting background display list, then I would have had no idea without the open disps where to look. But with this, I know I would have at least known from this being the most recent open disps before the game the display list jumped to garbage, that I would have had to search starting in painting.c. Alright, so that's it for GDB, for showcasing GDB plus GBD. I would like to showcase just simply GDB. And also again, this is not how you're supposed to use GBD, the graphics binary debugger. I have a script which is here. Please open it. VS Code. Oh, it's in another folder, that's why. Which is interfacing with GBD using both the GDB API on one hand, and the GBD binary on another hand. Which is waiting on some upstream things, maybe. But I will eventually publish this, or DM me on Discord to have more details. So let's fix our problem, because now, so the thing was, we knew now that the segment 8 was the issue, and we knew that it was inside storing the scale anime for the PO. So just set segment 8 to the list, and voila, it will work again. Ta-da. Now let's say we had a crash. What kind of crash could I make? Yeah, sure. Let's purposefully make this crash by keep making the code use a null pointer, which is going to cause the CPU to fault this time. And we can also admire Saro's debugger improvements. If I can remember the controls. Okay, finally figured it out. So we have the mostly vanilla crash debugger here. So TLB exception on store, which is just interacting with any memory in the range 0 to OX 8000000, because OT doesn't use TLB, which is a translation look-aside buffer for mapping some memory to specific parts of RAM anyway. OT doesn't use it, so accessing an address that looks like, for example, a null pointer crashes like this. We have a stack trace, which is more filled out in the log. So we have the stack pointer, the program counter, and the virtual program counter, so where it is in virtual memory. So this shows us this is inside an overlay or dynamically linked library. And in the console we actually have names. This is not in vanilla. Like most of this is in vanilla, but not the names. The names here were added by Saro thanks to generating some PDB information, program debugging information, on build. So this is useful if you have it. And again, the repo is open source. You can go see how we did it and copy it for yourself. So we know it's in painting draw, which is yeah, it is. That's where I put the bad code. We know there's a in painting actor loaded. There are various overlays loaded. That's just a RCP debug. However, if we use GDB, so the GNU debugger, we can have better than the crash screen, which is still good, because if something you can only be reproduced on console, for example, then the crash screen will be all you have, unless you set up something. So here I run GDB, the GDB client, then REs with the GDB server, and we can see the program stopped in well, this function, which is indeed again in painting, which is indeed where I added the crashing code. So it crashes here, which is line 356, which is indeed I'm using a GFX here. But how would we know whether it's I need to remember how to do this. Slashes. So where am I? Hold on. So we are in IP draw to RGBI 16 texture. At line 356, Which function is it disassembling for me here? Yeah, it's not disassembling the right function. Why? Bad frame? It's really not cooperating. Okay, whatever. I'm just going to tell it to disassemble the correct function. Hoping it does. No, it really doesn't want to. Okay, well. Well, in theory, it would print me the function source code and assembler, and then we could have an idea of what it's doing in more details. But for some reason, it doesn't want to. Is it inlined or something? Well, maybe it inlined the function into the. Maybe it inlined this function into the function where it's called because it's static and only called once. So maybe it just essentially moves the code here instead of keeping it its own function. So what we can do is compile in painting.c with a debug flag instead. Hold on. I'm just going to. I'm touching the file so it will compile it again. Then I'm going to find the path to the .o file, if I can find it. So this is the C file, this is the O file. Okay, well, whatever. So we are going to add flags. Here we have. No, it should be compiled with OG. So it's important to have the OG flag to optimize for debugging. So it basically kind of does not optimize. So it won't inline functions, for example, or make things that will make the assembly hard to debug, or even GDB work less well due to generating faster code, but also more confusing code. We're going to try again. No such file of directory. Yeah, for interrupted linking. So build the ROM, and we are going to try harder, or try on something else. Oh yes, it did inline it. I didn't. Wait, did it? Where am I? I should look at the. Draw to the texture. GSP branch delist, IP draw. To RGB 16 texture. IP draw. Yeah, so here it's showing me code from there. So it did inline the function, even though it's using optimize for debugging. Okay, great, thanks GCC. I'm not sure why the compiler did that. So we can see here, this line here is showing us where the PC is. So the PC is the program counter, is where the code is currently executing. So it's showing it failed on storing a word to V0. And indeed, V0 is per this instruction is 0. So if it's storing something to 0, well, the null pointer, well, indeed it will cause a TLB exception on N64 with the TLB not set up, which is the case in OOT. So we can ask ourselves why to 0? And if we see this, then we know it's storing inside the value that is located inside the GFX. Well, it's storing to the value pointed to by GFX, and we can check GFX, and oh yes, GFX is indeed null, so that makes sense, it's crashing. So we can fix that and such. So this is of course a very simple example where the faulty line is just a few lines away, but it can be a lot more complicated, and in fact it is a lot more complicated usually. But without this kind of tool, it's just impossible to debug anything. We did have to debug some very nasty crashes due to some things we didn't see coming and some bugs we wrote inside the code. So yeah, very thankful for GDB, which was implemented in ARIS by Hail to Donongo. So big thanks to him or her or them, whatever. Him, I think. Whatever. Yeah, that's about it. Just one thing. So for building a release ROM, did I write something here? Yes. So if you wanted to write a release ROM yourself, you want to make clean, and then so I won't run it because I don't want to clean, but you would run make clean and then make and debug equals 1. So no debug, and then it will build a release ROM which does not have the input display, does not have the map select combo, does not have a bunch of the debug features. Is this still the crashing version? Yes, I should make again. All right. Well, thanks for watching this monologue. I hope it was interesting. Let me know if you have questions. I'm available on Discord. I will try to put relevant links in the description. Thanks for watching. Have a nice day.